Well folks, here it is. It is finally here. After waiting months for this vehicle to arrive, the 5th generation of the Toyota Supra has finally landed in South Africa. And well, it was absolutely worth waiting for. Now, call it the Mark V, the A90, the 2020, whatever you like, it is still a Toyota Supra. And this vehicle really does live up to every single part of Toyota's recipe for a sports car. Front engine, rear-wheel drive, 50-50 weight distribution, and a 6-cylinder turbocharged inline-6 up front. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Supra and the BMW Z4 were developed in conjunction with each other, but not as the way you would think. You see, the BMW and Toyota engineers got together in a room, decided what they were going to use, went away and didn't speak to each other for 5 years. And what you ended up with is two cars that use the same parts but couldn't be more different. Now, I've driven the BMW Z4 on launch a few months back, and I found it to be every bit as BMW a BMW could be. Getting into this new Toyota Supra, you're getting the same touch and feel. There's a lot of BMW parts in here. You can immediately recognize them. But everything about this car is Toyota. The touch, the feel. And I'm going to put that down to the way Toyota tuned and built up this car from the parts that they were given. The steering is on point. The car doesn't feel as twitchy. Those are just some of the handling aspects. But the real differences are in the interior. Small things like the center console and the way the color scheme of the leather has been laid out to sort of encompass you in what is the driver's position. It's very reminiscent of the Mark IV. But I'm going to jump ahead a few days because I'm going to be getting back into the BMW Z4, and I'm going to give you an insight into a few more differences between the BMW Z4 and, of course, the new Toyota Supra. Well, here we are, folks, back in the car, and it is the BMW Z4. Thoughts of the Supra still very fresh in the mind, and I want to highlight a few of the differences. Let's start right here in the interior. The interior of the Z4 feels more cramped. It's almost as if there's not enough space for my legs and I can't get a right driving position. It might just be all in the mind, but it genuinely does feel like I have left space around me. The steering wheel is very different. The BMW Z4 steering wheel is very thick, very chunky, and I do quite like this. I actually prefer it over the thinner steering wheel in the Supra. Now, the gauge cluster is completely different, where this is all digital and has a whole bunch more little menus and things that you can scroll through. The Supra's one is still has like an analog dial in the middle. The screens are the same, switch gear's the same, but this entire center console is completely different. In the Supra, it's carbon fiber. Here it's like this brushed aluminium with little triangles and stuff in it. My biggest bugbear, of course, is this center console piece here. In the Supra, you have two cup holders. Here you have this clamshell arrangement. And if you wanted to use the cup holders that are in the middle, these clamshells have to be open, and that means that it's going to be poking you in the elbow the whole time while you're driving. That's not good. The biggest deal breaker for me right about now is the fact that BMW's iDrive connected drive system has Apple CarPlay in wireless. And if this is the same system that the Supra is using, why don't they? That's right, the GR Supra does not have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto on board. And that being said, it is a very, very nice drive, and that is probably the biggest difference. It's something you can't explain, is that the drive between the Z4 and the Supra is completely different. The way the chassis tuning has been done, the way the engine speaks to the steering speaks to the chassis, and the whole package speaks back to the driver is completely different. The Z4 feels twitchy and nervous, and I can never truly relax while behind the wheel because I'm constantly in fear that this thing's going to end up in a ditch upside down. With a Supra, it feels much more sure-footed, and the weight balance as it shifts when you're under braking it's also completely different. It really is something that you have to experience, and I do urge you, if you have the opportunity, drive both these vehicles back to back, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Another big difference is, of course, that the Z4 is a convertible soft top only, where the GR Supra is a hard top only, and nary shall the two meet. There will not be a different version of each. I have to be fair though and say that BMW Z4 is not actually competing against the GR Supra. The Supra is actually being positioned to go up against BMW's M2 and the Porsche Cayman. So at the end of the day, I can hear you asking me through the camera, which one would I have? And it's a bit of a tough decision. The fanboy in me wants to take the Supra because of the Supra nameplate. The driver in me wants to take the BMW Z4 because it commands respect, and you have to know how to drive to be able to eke the most out of the car. But to live with every day, if I was given R1 million and asked to buy one of the above cars, it's going to be the Supra.